Well, thanks for being with us this morning at 8 o'clock. As we come on the air right now, we are standing by for a press conference from officials with updates on the manhunt for the shooter who assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. This all comes just 30 minutes after President Trump announced a suspect is now in custody. NBC News reporting right now, citing sources that suspect's family member turned them in. Now, we're going to bring you that press conference as soon as it starts. But first, let's get a closer look at your weekend forecast. Hi, John.
Hey, good morning. Beautiful weekend. It's going to be hot, though. The only real chances for rain this weekend, in my opinion, are going to be this afternoon. We had to introduce a 20 or 30% chance. Otherwise, I don't really see a whole lot. Maybe Sunday in western Minnesota, but it should be good. Now it's breezy out here, and that wind has allowed temperatures to warm up quite a bit. We're 5 to 10 degrees warmer right now than we were yesterday at this time, and that has kept us fog-free. Visibility at 10, so perfect visibility. That's great. I'm really not a fan of the fog. I'm not sure who is. It doesn't do anything for us. Current wind speeds are a little strong, and you can definitely see the breeze out there. Winds in the morning, not as common. Whenever you have a front close to you, you can have the wind. Now, temperatures have been in the 60s. Very nice out here, 63, but it's been storming. This boundary launched the storms last night, and they've actually been able to move pretty good. They've moved through Bemidji. They've been rolling through Black Duck here this morning. So Deer River, Grand Rapids, get ready for a chance. And we got a nice thunderstorm here near Fergus Falls. This one is going to be moving over towards Pine River, so we'll keep an eye on this cell as well. Typically, these storms will be weakening over the next hour, but for now, we continue to monitor these thunderstorms as they work their way through. The stronger of the two, Black Duck, you guys are just getting this rain right now. Probably a solid ½ inch to an inch going to fall there. I know Bemidji, you were just kind of on the edge, but you probably got more of a passing thunderstorm. Temperatures today going 80 to 82. Going to be a warm day, sunny to start. Clouds increase. There could be a little isolated cell pop in the afternoon. That is new to the forecast. Yesterday, it looked like we stayed dry. Today, I'm like, okay, mainly dry, 30% chance. So again, temperatures are going to be held down a little bit off to the north just because you have the rain right now, added cloud cover. So the rain, this model underdoes the rain. I don't love when models miss because that typically means they don't know what's going to happen at all for the rest of the day. But that's just the deal. We want to model to what we call initialize, right? So you want to find a model that shows what's going on in real life. But this one does not. So yes, just understand weather is like the butterfly effect. You've ever heard that? If you change one piece of data, the whole outcome changes. Well, it doesn't know it's taking wrong data right now. So yeah, there's a question mark. That's why I'm going to tell you there's a 30-40% chance. Again, so yes, 4 to 5, 6, 7 o'clock, there's a chance for some isolated storms. Once we clear out of that, it's going to be great. Saturday's a hot day. 92 in Laverne Saturday. I think we're at 85. So the 90s are coming. 90s are definitely showing up Sunday. I think Sunday here in the metro we go 88. But, the common spots southwest of the metro could hit 90 degrees. 86 on Monday. There's an isolated storm chance there. Again, only 20%. I hope we get rain this afternoon. I don't want to mess with anyone's plans. We could use it again because I don't see a ton of rain in the next 5 days.
All right, 8:04, seen a crash in Spring Lake Park. This is Highway 65. This is right at 81st Avenue Northeast. We see a couple of vehicles here in this left turn lane, so it's not impacting traffic flow, which is good, but it is something to look out for. I drew out where this crash was on the bigger map, and of course we're seeing slowing in that area, but not because of the crash. At about 5 minutes as you head toward Fridley and 694. I'll let you know when that situation clears, but if we take a look at how things are moving 30 minutes after I last saw you, now we're starting to see more of the traffic flow pick up here, especially on 694 between Fridley and Shoreview. So if you're coming down on 695 from where that crash is, you will hit some traffic if you hop on 694. Slowing going into downtown Minneapolis, also in Edina on Highway 62. We're always seeing slowing at this time. A little bit of slowing going into downtown St. Paul, but that has also improved over the last 30 minutes. I do want to talk about 2 weekend projects that you are going to want to know about. First, we'll do Highway 10. in Coon Rapids. Things are going to shut down right at Round Lake Boulevard starting tonight at 10, wrapping Monday morning at 5. You will need to take alternate routes during that time. I drew those out for you. The ramps on Round Lake Boulevard you can detour on. Also, Northdale Boulevard and Main Street will be the detours for that until Monday morning. Over in the Rogers Maple Grove area, 94 will go down to one lane in both directions between Highway 101 and Rogers, and then the Fish Lake split between 494 and 94. This is also starting at 10 o'clock tonight and ending on Monday morning at 5. You can still take 94, but there will be significant delays, so really plan ahead if you have weekend plans in this area. Coming down from the Otsego area or even Elk River, you can stay on Highway 10. Also, you can hop off highway and take Bass Lake Road or Fletcher Lane if you're coming from Albertville or St. Michael. Lauren.
All right, Cece, thank you. It's 8:06 and we have breaking news into the newsroom in just the last hour. President Trump says the suspected shooter was taken into custody in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. In an interview on Fox and Friends this morning, Trump said, quote, "I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody." Now, the FBI has not confirmed this yet. We are standing by for a news conference that's expected to happen around 8:30. Meanwhile, NBC News is gathering information and they are reporting some new details, including that the suspect was captured after a family member saw their photo and turned him in to the FBI. Now, we're going to continue to follow this closely. Again, we will carry that news conference live when it happens, and we'll bring you updates throughout the stream. In other news, we are following breaking news in South St. Paul today. In the last few hours, we learned police have a suspect in custody. That's after a brief shelter-in-place order following a shooting. Now, this happened after 3:30 this morning near 3rd Street South and 2nd Avenue South. That's where Michelle Beck joins us now live with the latest details. So, Michelle, what are you learning?
Well, Lauren, I can tell you neighbors here in South St. Paul are waking up this morning. Some people not having any idea that this happened overnight, but they're coming to the corner to where we are right now at the cusp of this crime scene behind me. And I'm telling them what happened, the same thing that I'm about to tell you. Well, South St. Paul police, they say in the last hour or so that they first came here around 3:45 this morning for some kind of medical event. They haven't said what exactly this kind of medical event was, but those are the words that they used. But they came here, they came to a home somewhere behind me in this block, and they say they found two men with gunshot wounds. One of those men were pronounced dead on scene. Another was taken to the hospital with very serious, life-threatening injuries. I'll step aside so that you can see the crime scene as it is right now. I think at this point the drone has come down, but that was up in the air a moment ago. There were officers on foot. There were canine here as well. Right now the BCA truck shows that state investigators are here on site as well. I saw those officers canvassing the area, taking notes about possibly what kinds of homes have doorbell cameras. We see one just in front of us. We also saw officers speaking with neighbors as well, possibly trying to get any information they can about what exactly happened here. Now, as far as the shooter goes, officers learned the shooter had run away. They say that happened. They learned that information pretty early on. Just after 3:45 a.m. again when they first showed up here. However, the shooter did not get far. They were only about 2 blocks away near 1st Avenue and 5th Street. Now, we don't know many details about what kinds of, how exactly officers ended up finding this shooter, besides the fact that there was a, quote, extensive search of the immediate area. I can tell you about 2 hours had passed between that initial call, again at 3:45 and 5:45, when officers say they finally found their suspect. Lauren, as things go for these kinds of crime scenes, for these kinds of investigations, we don't know names just this early on. However, the names of deceased typically come from the medical examiner. That's what we're waiting on. No names yet when it comes to the suspect as well. Lauren, I'll send things back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. 8:10 now. As you head home from work, there will be a rally to defend U of M union workers beginning. The Twin Cities campus has been on strike since Tuesday night, and it's already causing a lot of tension. In the last 24 hours, a university spokesperson confirmed 12 people were cited and released after multiple warnings for interfering with public property. The U also alleges Teamsters told temporary workers that they'd call ICE on them for crossing the picket line. The union denies that, saying it, quote, defies logic because many on strike are immigrant workers, and says they're not trying to disrupt, but they do want to be heard.
We're not here to disrupt anything or damage anything or be disrespectful. We're just here because we want to be heard. And then, we were told to, if they have a delivery for the hospital, let them in. So right away, they come out and talk to me, and then I let them in right away.
The U says they are committed to reaching a fair and equitable agreement. An attorney for the Teamsters filed an unfair labor practice for intimidation related to those citations, among other concerns. As the strike continues, Farm Aid organizers are threatening to pull the benefit concert from Huntington Bank Stadium unless the U reaches a resolution. The concert, which includes headliners like Willie Nelson, Neil Young, and John Mellencamp, is set to happen next week. Raya Katene has the latest from organizers and what the U is saying this morning.
For some on the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus, business carries on as usual.
Sure.
For Grady Johnson,
Yeah, absolutely.
this is serious business, although it's anything but usual.
I'd rather be working than being out here, but we'll be out here until we get what we need.
As the University of Minnesota Gardener and Teamsters Local Union 320 member, Johnson is one of 1,400 university workers currently on strike.
We're prepared to strike as long as it takes.
How long it will take for the union and university to reach an agreement over wages and contracts is hard to know. But as the U prepares to host Music Festival Farm Aid at Huntington Bank Stadium in just over a week from now, the pressure is amping up.
It's hard to imagine Willie Nelson crossing a picket line.
Willie Nelson, Neil Young, and Dave Matthews are some of the names expected in Minneapolis as part of Farm Aid's 40th year celebration supporting family farms. But as the strike continues, Farm Aid says it may have to move venues or cancel the event altogether. In a statement, the organization says, quote, "The farm and labor movements are inseparable, and our artists, production team, and partners have made clear that they will not cross a picket line."
It's really encouraging.
Meanwhile, the university says it has engaged in conversation with Farm Aid for months, especially this week, and that the decision about whether the event moves forward is theirs. The university adds that it remains at the negotiating table.
We're not backing down. Again, we're prepared to wait this out. Time is on our side.
Well, we have the university's full statement on KARE11.com. If the festival goes on as planned, it would be the first time Farm Aid has come to Minnesota. Developing right now, the owner of what was supposed to be the first pot shop in the state is suing the Albert Lea City Council. Jacob Schlichter filed a petition in district court after the council denied registration for his cannabis business, despite having a license from the state. In response, the city of Albert Lea argued the court does not have the power or authority to grant Schlichter's request. The city is also asking for more time to properly explain the reason behind the decision. Meanwhile, north of the Twin Cities, a new agreement between the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe and the state of Minnesota now permits the tribe to sell outside of their reservation, including selling cannabis flowers wholesale. The band's regulatory agency can now issue up to 8 licenses outside of Ojibwe land, as long as they're in line with the state's regulations. Let's talk football now. Packers fans feeling pretty good this morning. Green Bay looked great through week 2, taking on the Commanders for Thursday night football. There's Jordan Love with the first score of the night, and they take it 27-18. But enough of that. Moving on to the Vikings. We're taking a live look at US Bank Stadium 48 hours ahead of Minnesota's home opener against the Falcons. Audrey Russo's at the stadium this morning with what you're going to want to know if you're going.
Yeah, it's an exciting home opener. This is going to be a big one for fans. They're going to be able to see their brand new quarterback for the very first time on the home stage. And they're actually putting the finishing touches on that home stage as we speak. You can see down there in the end zone. They're painting on a stripe. I'm told this is the classic look for the end zone, kind of matching with the theme that they're going for this coming Sunday. So the vibes are immaculate out here at US Bank. And JJ McCarthy's got the odds on his side. The Vikings are favored to win over the Atlanta Falcons. Sunday Night Football will kick off here at US Bank at 7:20, but there are festivities planned outside the stadium during the afternoon. The Vikings cheerleaders and the Skol Line will get the party started at 2 with a free concert from country musician Russell Dickerson at 4:30. Now, tickets for the game start around $120. That's what I saw when I last looked at Ticketmaster. And for parking options, there's ramps to the north and to the west of US Bank Stadium. And of course, this is the home opener, right? So in addition to seeing the team again and getting reacquainted with US Bank Stadium. There's also some new foods that are going to be available for you to try. I've got more on that coming up in about a half hour, but for now, I'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Audrey. And you can watch that game on KARE 11. Our sports team will be live at US Bank Stadium on Sunday with exclusive interviews and updates. And if you're watching it from home, be a nice day. Take a look outside this morning. Little overcast, or hazy, I should say, but it's going to turn out to be a really nice day, a really hot weekend.
Yes.
John, you've got a long weekend ahead of you because you're so excited about the Vikings game.
Yeah, yes, and I have to take Monday off. I'm forced to. It's in my contract. No, it's not in my contract. But I'm taking Monday off. Don't worry, I work like 11 straight days after that, okay? It's payback. It is a gorgeous morning out here. We're in the low 60s. It is still summery. We're going to have 24-hour temperature change here. That means it's warming, right? If it's 4 to 10 degrees warmer right now than 24 hours ago, temperatures are in the 60s. But most importantly, that keeps us fog-free. We're fog-free. I would never show you visibility at 10 typically, but we were coming off of multiple days of terrible fog. And you can thank the winds. Always thank the winds. Wind speed outside of, a situation in March or something like that where you're trapping in some of the air, 99.9% of our fog at this time of the year can't settle in with a wind speed at 9 to 10 miles per hour. That clears you out. It also warms you up. We're in the 60s, 63 in the metro, 64 in Moorhead. So we've got those thunderstorms still ongoing. They're starting to weaken a tad. You got this one, though, still not wanting to die off yet. That's coming right into Pine River. You can see Deer River, and then just north of that, we've got that activity. That would be Black Duck. Yeah, you guys are getting it. I did get a confirmed report from my friend online saying it's pouring in Black Duck here. 67 to 82 today. It's going to be a warm, partly cloudy day. We could see, again, that activity continue in Alexandria and Brainerd. That's where it'll be active. To the south, it's just going to start to get hot, though. So models are struggling with initializing. Again, that's not good because typically, if you want to trust a model, it needs to be accurate right now. Well, the model thinks there's no rain right now. So we'll see what that means for us down here into the south. But I do expect isolated thunderstorms from around 2 to 4, maybe lingering to 7. Let's just call it the afternoon or early evening. The reason I tell you that the models don't initialize, what do you take from that? That just means there's a question mark with today. That just means that your models, your AI, your apps, especially up here, Brainerd area, you kind of got to throw it out. It could say, these are the days where it says 0% chance of rain, and then it rains on you, right? That's just understand that's what's going on up here. It's 85 degrees on Saturday to 92. It's going to be blazing hot southwest Minnesota. We'll get to the warmth by Sunday at 88 degrees into the weekend.
I just needed help to figure out how to process through this because I was not going to be able to do it on my own.
When Dr. Rachel Weigert and 2 other ER docs at Children's Minnesota spoke to CARE earlier this week, they gave credit to the power of therapy. While it makes sense that experts in pediatric trauma care have trauma professionals to talk to, you don't need to be directly impacted to need someone to talk to right now. Ken Erdahl spoke to 2 experts about how to get the conversation started.
At a time when violence and trauma have altered lives directly and indirectly, there should be no shame in sharing.
The research on collective trauma says talk about it. Talk about it. Our society's so quick, to be done grieving. You have 2 days of bereavement leave after someone has died, back to work. It perpetuates this idea that grief is something that we can do right after the event and it's over. And it's not over.
Therapists Sarah Lindsay and Adam Steinbach admit knowing who to talk to isn't easy.
We're humans too.
Especially at a time when political divisions are driving many of us further apart.
There's so much strain on relationships. I have clients who are processing how political differences are creating, these rifts in their family relationships. Violence is collectively traumatizing.
That's where this therapy space usually comes in. There's just one big problem.
I can't keep up with the demand. Community members are reaching out to me saying, where do I go? What do I do?
Since March, their answer has been Therapy on Tap, a gathering at local breweries roughly once a month where anyone can connect with 10 to 15 licensed therapists.
To see okay, can I sit with you? Can we have a conversation? Do you understand me? Because not every therapist is going to connect with every client.
It seems a little bit like speed dating for therapists.
Yes, we've had people say that a lot, yeah.
Is that an accurate representation or not quite?
Yes, it is, but less pressure.
It's less structured. You don't have to talk to every single person. There's not a time slot. It's a little bit more of an open house.
Alcohol and therapy?
Tricky, right?
Great question. None of the therapists are drinking at the event. No therapy is provided at the event. The therapist can just tell you a little bit about themselves. Lots of non-alcoholic options too.
Therapists only participate if they have immediate openings, while Adam and Sarah play the role of hosts.
I get to know a little bit about them and someone pops into my mind that they'd be a great fit with.
So you are a therapy matchmaker now?
Yeah, that's my new job. I'd love to do it full time if I could find a way. Give me a nice break from doing trauma work for a little while. Therapists are overwhelmed right now too. So we need each other too.
There is certainly no shame in that.
My hope is that we have a society someday that needs less therapists and that we get more of our mental health needs in our natural relationships and by having strong community bonds that actually have space for emotion.
This idea that we can be connected and be sad and be holding these things and we're not a burden talking about them with our friends and our family and our community, that we're all in this together.
The next Therapy on Tap event is on September 28th at Utapils Brewery in Minneapolis from 1 to 4 p.m. If you can't make that, they'll have another at Bad Weather Brewery over in St. Paul on Sunday, October 26th. We'll be right back.
At home from work, union workers and supporters will be rallying at the U of M Twin Cities campus. Organizers calling it an urgent rally to defend workers. 1,400 University Teamsters Local Union 320 members have been on strike this week over their contracts and wages. And it's causing a lot of tension, leading to the arrests of 12 people. The university confirmed that yesterday, citing multiple warnings for interfering with public property. John will have a check of the weather after this.